Okay, welcome to this video. This is my Defender Puma 2010 station wagon XS model with the carpets. Cut long story short, I had the alarm going off, I had the Ardman pedal lock in place, and the car was in gear because I'm parked on the slope. So impatiently I yanked the gear out of first, and resulted in the car being stuck in first gear. Stupid error, but anyway, thanks to defender2.net, all the posts on there, read up a huge amount, and decided to give it a go at tackle myself, partly because I'd need a recovery truck, and where it's parked it's difficult to get a recovery truck, so I thought, why not have a go? So having followed all of their advice and read numerous threads, this is where I've got to. So basically on the Defender Puma, there's 4 bolts on this top body. Okay, you don't need to remove the gear stick here, but whilst it's up you may as well grease it and do whatever. But you do need to remove the high-low, because it doesn't slide away, and also you need to remove the high-low because there is the 4th bolt down there that bolts this thing on, so it's a pain in the neck that it's there. But what I did, rather than disconnect the high-low rod at the far end, I prized off the little yellow cup that goes over the ball joint with a flat-headed screwdriver, a bit of brute force, and it popped out. I don't know whether that's the right way to do it, but I couldn't seem to find a sort of a release key anywhere, and so I did that. So the only outcome was a minor scratch on my arm, which is bleeding. But anyway, so then that high-low lever pulls out, and then you can access the 4th bolt. And once you undo these 3 bolts, it's dead simple. I used it's a 13mm socket, and actually you're better off using a 1/4 inch socket set. A lot more movement, a lot more room to be able to do it. So yeah, 13mm and a 1/4 inch socket set rather than the 1/2 inch. It just didn't fit. And then that gets you to this stage basically, which is we've slid this off, and the reason for it for being stuck in first is a detent spring, which didn't know what those were until I had the problem, and then realised what they are, and designed to keep you in gear when you're rattling around. But the Land Rover ones have a weak spring apparently, and so they're not as hardy as a replacement that's been made. But they worked. It's worked for 85,000 miles. It's only my own stupidity that made this happen. So I don't blame the spring, I just blame the user. Anyway, what you want to get to is these are the detents. So I think there's about 8 or 10 on the gearbox in total in different places. This is the horizontal one, and this is the vertical one. This is the vertical one that's the problem, and this is what a detent spring looks like. Just looks like a bullet, to be honest. But anyway, it pops in there. And in order to get it out, because it's flush sitting, you have to drill a little pilot hole, put a self-tapping screw in it, and then prise it out. I put a little bit of WD-40 around it and cleaned around the side so I didn't get any rubbish inside the hole as I lifted it out. And I used, in order to prise it out, I used just one of these, which is a interior trim tool. Just put the screw in there like that and went, and out it came. Simple as anything. Now, once you do that, then you put a screwdriver in there. I don't know if you can see all the way in there, but there's a rail in there, and it had moved a bit this way. So with a flathead screwdriver, you pop it in and then move it back so that this little thing can then engage in the correct slot that it's supposed to be in. Now you can't really reuse this because there is oil in there, and so it is lubricating this, and where you can already see there's elements of leakage, so you don't want to do one with a hole in the top. Some people said you can silicone it or leave the screw in or whatever sort of thing, but to be honest, it's such a pain to get to this stage for an amateur that you may as well spend 20 quid and buy yourself a new one. Yep, that's right, 20 quid for this little thing. But 20 quid, get a new one and then tap it in. You can get sets, but I believe the replacements that I've got are 15% greater resistance than the Land Rover one, so they are superseded in any case. So I just bought two. I bought a spare one in case I muck it up putting it in. Seeing as you're paying for the postage, you might as well get two. So it's cost me 50 quid in total. I'm waiting for that to arrive, but then it's just a question of popping that in. Oh, by the way, they do say on defender2.net, handy thing, jack it up on the passenger side front wheel, and you know when it's in neutral again, because the wheel will turn, because when it was stuck it wouldn't turn because it was in gear. Once you've moved the rail to the correct position, then you're free and effectively you're neutral, and then you can pop this little the new replacement one of these back in, and then it's a question of just sliding that back, bolting it back up, putting the high low diff back in, connecting up that rod, which I haven't tinkered with anymore, and putting it back together. As an amateur, I haven't rushed it, because rushing it tends to you tend to break things. So I've taken my time. It's probably taken me total time on it 3 hours. A professional probably doing a lot less. I've seen on the defender2.net posts people done it in an hour and a half, and you know, I guess if you know what you're doing, you know, people do it quicker than that. But for me, 3 hours, as I say, probably saved me quite a bit in labour, plus I'd have to get a recovery truck here and all the other bits and pieces. So anyway, I hope that's helped, and thank you for watching.